Australia and China trade is doomed. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian.Heise here, and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Grab your stein of coffee. Let's have a look at this article from Yahoo Finance discussing, apparently, the Australia-China trade ties are doomed, according to a Beijing expert. So, we've seen a lot of articles and discussions about, trade quotas, trade limits, trade bans on a whole series of Australian products going into China, including coal, including beef, and, our rock lobster industry in WA, they copped it too, and, it just keeps growing and growing and growing. So let's have a look at this. The hostile relationship between Australia and China appears to be damaged beyond repair, a researcher and academic has declared. According to recent analysis piece by Beijing Foreign Studies University's Australian Studies Centre Assistant Professor Dian Hu, the incoming Biden presidency may reset America's relationship with the Asian superpower, but will do little for bilateral ties with Australia. In fact, things might get worse. The strategic and security aspect of bilateral relations between China and Australia will tend to grow more contentious, Hu said. This will be further exacerbated if Biden creates a new alliance of US allies and partners, and it would be nearly impossible for Australia not to take part in this group, she said. Ever since Canberra led the call for an independent WHO inquiry into the origins of COVID-19, Beijing has taken increasingly aggressive actions against Australian trade exports in recent months, imposing tariffs on wine and barley, as well as restricting coal, lobster, timber, red meat, and cotton. While optimistic pundits have pointed out that China is importing more Australian iron ore than ever, Hu notes that investment in other aspects of Australia have dwindled. Chinese investment in Australia has continued to shrink for 3 consecutive years, lower than the last ebb in bilateral relations around 2010, and almost down to 2007 level when capital inflow from China just started to be substantial. Lack of trust is at the heart of the matter, she said. Australia does not trust China and has amplified this by taking administrative decisions and proactive legislation to that end, while loudly publicizing them. But the issue is that Australia expects the trade relationship to be business as usual. Differences between the two nations have been widening since 2017, and the chasm has grown wider as Canberra demonstrates itself to be increasingly willing to speak out against the superpower, the Beijing expert added. Australia that has grown more and more assertive and outspoken about what it believes, she said. With both sides unlikely to back down in any of the above areas, and shrinking policy space among megaphone diplomacy and unwise messaging, it is getting increasingly unrealistic to imagine a reset to China-Australia relations in the near future. Now, with that in mind, let's have a look at another article that is talking about, an increase to wool exports to China. So China raises the import quota on Australian wool. China has raised its import quota on Australian wool this year, Australia's Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade said on Saturday, a rare positive sign in an increasingly strained relationship between the two countries. So here we have some positive news with regards to these trade issues. And guys, this is a problem for Australia because, we export a lot of goods and services, particularly goods and products, natural resources, a lot of farming. We're quite a primitive economy. I'll bring up one of my favorite websites that all the regulars of the channel I know have seen many, many times. And it's, can you guess? OEC. Our complexity is 73rd in the world. Majority of our exports are going to China. These are the issues. Majority of our imports are also coming from China. Look at the complexity of what we're importing and look at the complexity of what we're exporting. It's more expensive with a market of our scale and a nation of our distance from other trade locations to manufacture here compared to other parts in the world. It's just that simple. We don't have the economies of scale, everyone. And a lot of people all talk when they say, we need manufacturing back here in Australia. But then you go, people won't want it in their backyards. People won't want the noisy and dirty industries and the manufacturing here. People won't want to work in the factories. so they get sent over for China. Australian wool producers are gaining increased access to China through the China-Australia Free Trade Agreement, the department's press office said in a statement. Under the 2015 agreement, China, which takes a third of all Australia's exports, grants duty-free treatment to Australian wool up to the quota level for a given year. The 2021 quota will increase to 38,000 tonnes from 36,000 tonnes. This comes after China last year blocked billions of dollars worth of Australian exports from lobster to wine while refusing to accept phone calls for Australian ministers seeking talks as diplomatic tensions rose. Contributing to the deterioration in bilateral relations, Canberra has been a leading voice in calling for an independent inquiry into the origins of the novel coronavirus first detected in Wuhan in 2019. Australia controls 90% of global fine wool exports, where prices are largely driven by Chinese wool mills and Italian garment makers. Well, there you have it, guys. So some concerns that our relationships with China with regards to trade are pretty much doomed. What does this mean for Australia moving forward? Well, the concern is that so many of our exports are heading to China, everyone. Iron ore, coal, gold, petroleum gas, copper, magnesium, you've got wine, barley, wool. 2.46% of our exports to China are wool. $2.17 billion industry, everyone. And at least they're increasing it here. But we have we're becoming increasingly dependent on China for our exports. And people can say, oh, find new markets. You think people haven't. It's a challenge. And particularly with the issues that we're facing now globally, with a recession hitting Australia and pretty much every other country in the world, a global recession right now, they're still trying to grow out of it. What are the unknowns? What is 2021 going to hold? So it's definitely going to be something interesting to watch. What do you think, everyone? Do you think this will ripple through and have impacts on other parts of the Australian economy? That's something that we need to be aware of. And that's something that we all need to keep in the back of our mind. It's because, well, working on remote, resource mines, there's a lot of fly-in, fly-out workers that get paid there, and then they spend their money in the city, and then maybe they extend their house, and they need an architect to work on that, or the architect works on the mine, like we did, designing the buildings that were going out there. And it just ripples through the entire economy. Sure, if I will work on the project, the majority of that money will probably go on 7-Eleven coffees over the next 40 years, but still, that's still economic spending. So these are certainly things to keep in the back of our mind when people are discussing a booming recovery next year. This year, 2021. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Like, share, subscribe to the channel. If you're a fan and want to support the content I create here, there are a few ways you can. You can join us on YouTube or Patreon. You can support us using our affiliate links on Amazon, eBay, Independent Reserve, or AussieBroadband. You can buy our merch from HeiseSays, use Gold Pass from the Perth Mint, or support us via PayPal. Take care, everyone, and I will see you all next time. Bye for now.